Hi guys, this is Allison from Allykatkreations. How are you? Please like, share, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. And if you get anything from my work, a connected dot, an epiphany, a mind blown moment, a mushroom cloud moment, a new book to read, a new author to explore, please consider supporting my work, and all the links will be in the description below the video. I just had to smoke my entire house out. So we had a wicked, really bad storm. I said it on the Awaspe video, but I'll say it here again. Really, really bad storm on Wednesday. Knocked my power out for an entire 24 hours. And I had a tree literally behind this computer from my neighbor that fell but caught one of my tree limbs, causing that to fall. And then another of her tree limbs fell from another branch. I've been hacking with an axe, really big axe, small axes, and a little tiny 6-inch saw to clear the entirety of the mess. And I've kind of finished today. I'm sore. My hands are swollen. But do my thing. I get a bunch of other things done today. I come downstairs to do, obviously, a reading. And above me up there are the Nightmare Before Christmas pop toys, because they used to collect them. So I put my cute little arrangement up in the corner. And I come down and they're all on the floor. Now, it's just me. No one's been in my house. Don't know how anything got up there. The shelf is still up. Nothing touched the shelf. Why they were all over the floor? Besides a spirit either wanting to get in contact with me, that could be it. And it's probably just something wanting my attention, or it's something negative that who knows what. So I just smoked my entire downstairs out. And I got my candle over here, nicely lit. Evil. Hi. Not today. I was going to do Blavatsky. I still might do Blavatsky, but something's calling me to do are George Van Tassel and continue on, because we also have this thicker book to tackle as well. It's a nice series. So we did chapters 1 through 3, being spacecraft in the Bible. Yes. This next chapter, the beginning of the end. Now, let's come back to a reminder that I do not necessarily align with the majority of what he has to say. More so in this book, with some of the channeling, I do resonate with. And the reasons why is watching, reading, and doing a lot of exploration on these topics. George, unbeknownst to himself, was getting visited by grays. Now, in our paradigm, many of us understand what some of the gray, not all, again, let me say, not all races of grays, what they're about. They're the slaves of the Draconians, supposedly, who have their agenda. Now, the grays have their own agenda, and that's for the poles to flip and for also Nibiru to come in to cause that flip. Now, I mentioned some Telegram channels and things. There is a lot of evidence that is saying that that's the gray agenda. Although we can only imagine what the other agendas are also very parallel to that. Maybe not touching it, or maybe taking advantage of what the grays are doing and they're jumping on the bandwagon. Regardless, you're increasing your frequency, you're increasing your consciousness. Any of all these concepts that are being brought to you, you don't need to resonate with it, but I find it fascinating to read these things, to see, especially when this was written, what the psychosis was of the era and the day. So we know we're going back to repeating. So for those of you, I see something going, but I don't see it physically. For any of you who did not catch the first episode, really a must watch. I don't read all sections. I'm just reading parts that I find very interesting that I would like to relate to you in George Van Tassel's words. Isaiah 3:12 states, "As for my people, children are their oppressors, and women rule over them. O my people, they which lead thee cause thee to err, and destroy the way of thy paths." This is wisdom out of the past, explaining the failure of the present peoples of earth. Recently, President Eisenhower of the United States said, quote, "The masses of people throughout the nations want peace. It is only governments that are stupid," end quote. Hi, knock, knock. Who's there? For anybody that's not caught up on the political agendas, okay, those are agendas and horrible things. But hello, knock, knock. In spite of the recognition of error and this expression of truth, the jaws of the golden calf go right on grinding out profit by fostering destruction. Now they have discovered the death force of atomic energy. Any of the people of Mesquite, Nevada, can tell you about the effects of radiation from atomic tests 110 miles away at Yucca Flats, near Las Vegas. Many of these people have lost every hair on their head and body, both men and women. Quote, "As a scientist," end quote, Dr. Sturenfin, I'm saying that and butchering it, so I do apologize, said, "I regret that an official as important as the chairman of the Atomic Energy Commission should have stated that there is no biological hazard from low doses of high energy bomb radiations." Here's something in our paradigm that George is bringing up here. If it's not atomic weapons, what are they putting in the air? Just because an atomic bomb went off in Las Vegas doesn't mean that radiation isn't being dragged by the jet stream HARP, DARPA, throughout the world. So what happens here is happening in little tiny microdoses, but that's still affecting our vehicles. Just like the things they put in the water, the things that they put in the ground. You cannot escape. There's no escaping. Isaiah 6:11 brings out more of the effects of atomic radiation. Quote, "Then said I, Lord, how long?" And he answered, "Until the cities be wasted without inhabitant, and the houses without man, and the land will be utterly desolate." Isaiah 13:20 amplifies this in remarking about Babylon. Babylon means the confused people in the large cities. Quote, "It shall never be inhabited, neither shall it be dwelt in from generation to generation." Isaiah 30:20 states, "And though the Lord give you the bread of adversity and the water of affliction, yet shall not the teachers be removed into a corner anymore, but thine eyes shall see thy teachers." We are going to defend Jerusalem, which is the United States. Where else have we seen this? Oh yeah, the Keys of Enoch. Keys of Enoch, Jerusalem, USA in the middle, Jerusalem, claiming the United States is Jerusalem. More books say it too. It's just not popping in my Rolodex in my brain right now. Not because their leaders are more virtuous or their people are more righteous, but because this is the mother continent of the new cycle. This is verified in Isaiah 31:5. Quote, "As birds flying, so will the Lord of hosts defend Jerusalem, defending also he will deliver it, and passing over, he will preserve it." Interesting. For those of you out of the country, I wouldn't worry about this. Though there are factoids in the Keys of Enoch that state such that the United States will be the New Jerusalem, and where a lot of these new things will start. Being here doesn't matter to me, because if they get away with their pole shift, many of us won't survive that. And it doesn't matter what part of humanity you live in. So let's do a Noah. We go over that too in this book. Many of the earth's peoples are already fulfilling the prophecy of Isaiah 33:15 and 16. "He that walketh righteously and speaketh uprightly, he that deceiveth gain of oppressions, that shaketh his hands from holdings of bribes, that stoppeth his ears from hearing of blood, and shuttereth his eyes from seeing of evil, he shall dwell on high. His place of defense shall be the munitions of rocks. Bread shall be given him. His water shall be sure." Isaiah chapter 35 describes the place of sanctuary, and chapter 51, 1-3, further verifies it. "The greedy who hoard the wealth of Here we are, 2023. Get this one. The greedy who hoard the wealth of money and property are also given prophecy of their outcome in Ezekiel 7:19. Quote, they shall cast their silver in the streets, and their gold shall be removed. Their silver and their gold shall not be able to deliver them in the day of the wrath of the Lord. They shall not satisfy their souls, neither fill their bowls, because it is the stumbling block of their iniquity. Let's bring into future. Hi, Ezekiel. How are you? All the actors and actresses moving out of their really filthy rich apartments and houses. All the CEOs who had to step down off their corporations, ones you probably never heard of. All the stock market back and forth that the MSN showed you. Every crooked person, oh, buy crypto. Listen, do you boo? Do you boo? But unless it's tangibly in my hands, most of us just want to be content. We want to be able to go on a vacation now and again. We want to be able to afford when things go awry in your house, have extra cushion. But I don't think too many people want to live above their means. I think people want to have the bare basic common basics of life. Those people, the ones who are dictating and controlling society. Bye-bye. Gitmo should be very fun. It's very important that we understand what has been done to us. And it doesn't matter. Most of us know something is wrong. The majority of us know why. A higher majority of us, a smaller percentage, but a higher majority understands all the interworkings of it all. And then a very few understand the outcome and where we see things, because people are still holding on to these little paradigms that people are spewing, holding on to hope, holding on to this great, big, grandiose thing where we're not there yet. The money financial system, I'm sorry, upstairs, my parents didn't tell me anything about I'm going to fall into a lot of money. I have to work and earn just like everybody else my entire life in order to be secure. So there's no reigning Jacera Nacera. If anybody's really wanting that paradigm to happen, great. But let's really face that. If every person on this planet just became overnight millionaires and things are not changed, how many people would squander that money in 5 minutes? You don't think of $1 million anymore. It'll take you a while, but it goes by pretty quick. I know people that can spend a lot of money in a snap on stupid shit. Not really investing in a community, not really investing in other people and themselves. It's the greed. Gotta go buy. Chapter 5, many mansions. just did an episode not too long ago on the Urantia mansions. And now we're seeing these mansions kind of like this ascension that we're all going through, and each level, each mansion is a different place of learning and a different place of letting go of your physicality, your humanness, to become the celestial being that you're in essence are. Just my opinion. Quote, the confusion among the many people interested in spacecraft and those who have had experiences with them has been apparent in nearly every conversation on Earth. They must open their mind to accept the full picture if they accept to understand its magnitude. One cannot ever know what is outside by remaining inside, can he, Abon? Again, he's talking to an extraterrestrial named Abon, and the other one I forgot off the top of my head. I think it's Bohr. Information from other levels of life is of no value in words. It must be understood and applied in practice on their level, else it too is worthless. Many of the higher frequency life forms can be ethereal in their present qualification of development. Then through thought force, can they command a change in their form to densities of lower frequencies? This is parallel to condensing moisture from air and freezing it into a solid. All things in form issue forth from thought, which is not in form. Thought is the causal force of creative mind, which is universal in all frequencies of life. Hermetic principles as well. The same thought force directed by the creative spirit is bringing man into form, caused planets, ants, and trees to follow their established patterns for their individual frequency levels. Between the Earth level and the Moon's orbit level, which are both negative, there is a positive level without Moon orbiting in the opposite direction. This Moon cannot be detected by physical vision or optics. The people living in this positive polarity level were once on Earth. They can see each other, but cannot be seen by negative physical vision. The church teaches them about heaven as though the life there and the one in heaven were the only two life levels. This is not so. Heaven, the next higher level, must be earned by doing the will of the Father. Jesus, whom the church professes as the one around whom the Christian religion was built, and who supposedly was the only Son of God, said, in my Father's house are many mansions. This certainly does not mean heaven and earth. Only two, it refers to many life levels in the whole universe. And as we see in Urantia, a wasp even, it's showing you different levels of oscillating scalar waves of frequency and vibration that we all dwell in levels of. And then when we peak a little higher and a little higher, things start shifting and moving in our paradigm. Some people are accepting heaven as Venus or Mars or some other planet, as back in their memory, they still cling to the professions of the church that there is only the earth and one other place. In our explorations through space, we have found people everywhere. Those from levels of life far beyond our frequency have stated that they have found man in many places, advanced in culture and science almost beyond their comprehension. When you stop to consider that our people, who have lifespans of 300 to 15,000 years, no disease, sciences that have progressed for hundreds of thousands of years with accurate records, it makes one realize that the earthlings have forgotten how to use the force of thought and the laws of the Creator. Okay, going back to Powder the movie, once you open this next line will make sense. God is everywhere. He is the thought force of creation. I agree with this. They must become individual Christs by manifesting his teachings, not by listening to sermons. Jesus said, even as I do, you can do and more. He didn't sanction words. He professed action by doing. They should accept the Father's many mansions, many life levels, eternal life, and manifest their thought expansion by doing. Oh. I know this is heavy, good stuff. That's why this book is great. On many levels, I resonate with this work. I don't resonate with the gray agenda. Even though not all gray species are bad, and I'm not knocking them. And again, this happened back when. So things could have pretty much changed. The government experts of many nations who supervise spacecraft, study and research, are confused by facts which do not conform to their established opinions and theories. Welcome to Super Soldier Talk. Welcome, Super Space Program. Secret. Shh. Yeah, we know who's in control of those. The authorities are trying to understand our spacecraft by bringing the outdated rocket propulsion experts and aircraft engineers into the research field. Project Bluebeam. X-Files. Project Blue Book. Now think of Roswell and that time era. Things were completely, utterly different in America. Recovering from the war, all this stuff was happening during the war, but more so a little after. Things are still a little like iffy. Things are teeter-tottering. The Nazis just came over here. Why? Oh, that's right. The German, Austrian Hitler understood what was happening, and he started making spacecraft. And who couldn't have their hands not have a spacecraft? Oh, the Americans. Jealous. A little truth, though. You don't have to take my stance on any of that, but I believe that to be so because we have the Nazi belt. Who else had a spacecraft in that time era? Who was working with the Draconians, the Palladian, Draconian, or the Palladian Anunnaki? Guys, don't think that they're not hybridized, that they're not working all together, please. You know, I take some of the things that Ashtiana Dean says with a grain of salt, but when it comes to the lines and the lineages, and you start making perceptional lookings at all the different groups of people that inhabit our paradigm, it starts making a lot of sense. Whose agenda, who's working for it, and what it is. People working for the Greys, I don't think they're all that bad, and I don't think all of the races are bad, but the ones that are trying to do pole flip are in control of the are enslaved by the Draconian with the Leviathan DNA, who want to take us into black hole. Because pole shift Nibiru, just like a chameleon. With the Anunnaki, oh, they're going to take us into a different type of matrix, but it's not going to be a good one either. Even though the Anunnaki is Nibiru, but I think they're moving past Nibiru. They're all using it. All of the races are using Nibiru as something. Or wormwood. The authorities are trying to understand our spacecraft by bringing outdated rocket propulsion experts. Okay, again, I wanted to re-emphasize that. Who was really good at rocket propulsion and who came here to create NASA? Oh yeah, that's right. Crazy people. NASA deceiver. Look at the tongue in the NASA logo. For those of you who are new and haven't saw the other alien agenda episodes, I have a lot of them, and I have a lot of creepy things in some of them. NASA's the liar, the deceiver. We who understand God and the subtle forces of his creation and use these forces for many things besides space travel are not limited by established brain theories. We do things that are astounding to the multitude because we are not limited by rules or class, authority, money, or dogma. The time is fast approaching when all these things will end. As individuals, they must be prepared for a new condition. We're heading there. We are so headed there. Okay, so what would be me without pulling the book out? It's probably mirrored. The Book of Knowledge, the Keys of Enoch. Now, if you are a follower of Ashtianides, this goes into the Metatronic coding and the fire coding that is of the Metatronic downfall, if you believe in that. But there's still some juicy good things in this book. The Return of the Dove. It's over the United States. I don't know if you saw that. Completely over the United States. The key to life is the vehicle, which is the family, in its basic function of the life light zone. The family within all fields of evolution can partake in the house of many mansions. The house of many mansions. Regardless of, again, the agendas or the things that you possibly might be into, everybody's into different things. Some of us are going to ascend without the Metatronic coding. Some of us will have the Metatron coding. It's up to you, and it's your soul's contract to figure that out. It's up to you to do what do you boo. Because at the end of the day, everybody's gonna go where they and what their soul wants to experience. And I'm not here to judge that. Because there's a lot of people who it's no right, but whether you believe Ashiana or not, whether you believe JJ Hertek, whether you believe the Law of One Ra, Dolores Cannon, Barbara Messiniak, there's a plethora of people that you could read and listen to. It's up to your soul to resonate with, and not everybody's going to resonate with the same stuff. And be aware that you might come from a gray incarnation, or a draconian, or an Anunnaki, or a Palladian of the negative, or the Syrian, or the Andromedan. And all could be a negative polarity that you got ensouled with. You're a human. And guess what? You have the free will choice to go, I don't want that programming. I'm going to move up because I want to be with everybody else. Fuck them. You're going to save your genetic gene code that's inside of you, the light letters, the fire letters. He talks about the fire letters. I don't see anything wrong with that. Yes, your mother and father gave you DNA. You all mixed and matched, and here you are, right? And a lot of people are like, oh my God, the RH negative. Oh my gosh. Guess what? No, freak out. This is what everybody's I'm seeing it a lot in chats. I'm really sorry. I personally believe that you can't help but two parents had sex, bird you out. You can't control what's in your DNA. Or can you? Oh, wait. You can't control your blood type. Doesn't mean you're alien because you have Rh negative blood. Just means you got to be really careful if you get pregnant. What people want is the God spark. When your parents' egg and little sperm mesh together, here comes the light, and there comes the coding that your soul came into because you chose your parents. Your little self came into the mom's womb with encoding. The God spark Christos coding. And that has different dimensionals, high frequency, different strains, 12, 24, different strains of DNA encoding within you. Not because your parents were aliens, not because your blood type happens to be A or B or AB or O. You can't help those things. You chose your parents because you chose the experience that you incarnated to come here and learn from. Earth is a school. Each and every one of us has a mission here, whether it be good, the bad, the ugly. That's up to you to choose to change the coding within yourself that might be of another bad force. That's up to you. I just wanted to share this NASA logo. See the red. Whoop. See the red. Whoop. Serpent's tongue. Serpent's tongue. Deceiver. Deceiver. A lot of people don't recognize. And again, I don't hate serpents. I don't hate snakes. I don't hate reptiles. And I don't believe all the reptiles, the draconian and all that, I don't think all of them are bad, just like I don't think all the Anunnaki are bad. There's polarity, and especially in this density, there's two polarities, and we all happen to be happily together in one plane of existence. Now, these beings who are higher frequency, higher density than us, they most likely live in a more place and time that's all positive. And then all the negative people are over here and they're all negative, but that doesn't mean that they can't go out and free flow and jive together or war against each other. They drop down in densities and up in densities and down in densities and up in densities, and they're always intermingling. I just think their homeland where they reside is in a controlled positive or in a controlled negative. And again, there's nothing wrong with any of that because it's of God's manifested creative thought. Leslie, for today. Space people on the Bible. Quote, I have given them thy word, and the world hath hated them, because they are not of the world, even as I am not of the world. John 17:14. Quote, we have landed many of our people on the earth in the last 100 years. This is verified to the people of Earth by the fact that their sciences have advanced faster in the last 75 years than they have in the last several thousand years. Most of them have placed in the three strategic branches of their industries: transportation, communication, and publication. We have done this in order. Oh, they're giving themselves away here. We have done this in order to control the Earth people. In event that we should be forced by their actions to make a hastily landing. As all of our methods are subtle, so we don't understand what's happening. See the manipulation and the control there. We have already educated their younger generation through comic books, television, and the radio. Our people have advanced the minds of youngsters to the point where they no longer desire to be cowboys. They want to be spacemen. Many of their parents who have open minds are also receptive. In event that we have to make a sudden landing, the children will rush to greet us, setting an example for the adults. Their Bible tells them of this. A child shall lead them. Our teacher called Jesus expressed the fact that we existed in space before the world existed. As recorded in John 17:5, quote, and now, O Father, glorify thou me with thy own self, with the glory which I had with thee before the world was, end quote. Also, Jesus told them of our people descending among them in John 3:12-13. If I have told you earthly things, and ye believe not, now shall ye believe if I tell you of heavenly things. And no man hath ascended up to heaven, but he that come down from heaven, even the Son of Man, which is in heaven. And John 1:51, and he saith unto him, verily, verily, I say unto you, hereafter ye shall see heaven open, and the angels of God ascending and descending upon the Son of Man. Can't deny that. The fact that we use telethought makes it possible for us to influence our people on the planet to do things that will be of a benefit to the Earth people. Now, just imagine, I'm going to put a pause there. Just imagine what the other races are doing to the people through telethought, through telekinesis and channeling. What agendas can be steered? Deceptions. Their Bible tells of Jesus knowing how to read their thoughts. Matthew 9:4. And Jesus, knowing their thoughts, said, wherefore think ye evil in your hearts. And Matthew 12:25. And Jesus knew their thoughts and said unto them, every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation, and every city or house divided against itself shall not stand. This is the law that is now violated by the authorities. Their planet is divided into two armed camps, each determined to control the earth. The multitudes in the various countries do not want war, but they have no influence on their leaders, who are influenced by the militarism, who depend on their might to bring their living. But why is this? Inquired Abon. In our records, we know of no other planet where people so flagrantly violate the law. Thou shalt not kill. The reason, responded Bohr, is because they have a peculiar monetary system. At one time, it was used as a medium of exchange, which worked well. However, money has become a commodity with which to make more money. Each nation values its assets in money. This asset fluctuates according to the demand. Therefore, their money is not stable. Then the quantity of their production is brought about by a minority of their people who produce the value, while the majority produce nothing. This has evolved to a point where the majority are non-productive people. They use what the minority produces and only contribute the handling of money and the keeping of records. None of them realize that they could all have more than they could use with equal distribution of productive work and finished products without a complicated money system. As you can see through the Synthescan, they have people with much more than they can even use and others with not enough. So here they're talking about how we have third world countries and then we have America. Let's just give America its kick in the ass. We have all these countries that are impoverished, that have a lot of problems. But if you do your research, it's not the people in the countries that want a third world country or a person to starve. It's the corporations and the trust funds, the human trafficking, the abuse of power and greed, and the people at top who continuously use people to enslave others and to make it so that there are impoverished places around the planet. The problem then stems that, yeah, there's people in Venezuela that can't eat. So what are people here trying to do about it? I don't know, probably not much. people in India, people, I mean, pick a place. If you're in a country that is on the wealthier side, not saying that you're wealthy, right? I'm not implying you, because the majority of us are just getting by. What are we doing for the people in our country who are homeless, who have needs? What are we trying to do? And plenty of people are trying grassroots effort to help the people get out of poverty, get jobs, get a lifestyle that's sustainable. Well, what always happens? Government. So don't think I'm taking a comment and making you feel bad. I don't want anybody feeling bad for the fact that, again, a lot of this is soul contracts. A lot of these people signed up to be in these situations of adversity to overcome it. Not all of us want to have to see these experiences or want to know that other people are going through them. But they're all experiences that people signed up for. And that's not an excuse to sit idly by and watch them suffer either. There's plenty of things that a normal person like us could do. The sad part is government kind of blocks a lot of that stuff, steals the money that we do donate, and try to send supplies and things over to those countries. And it probably will never make it over where we intended it to go, which is really sad. Our normal time of return would have been around the end of the planet's precession of the equinoxes. But as their experimentations with the power forces of death have sped up with the precision, so we have had to shorten the days and be ready to act ahead of time. The atomic experiments of the Earth people have increased the rate of the precession. The authorities in charge of the research in several nations have ignored the laws of cause and effect. If the planet were out in half by an imaginary line, all the explosions would be found to have been carried out on one half of the planet. The fact that most of them were fired in the morning while the planet was approximately in the same position in relation to the sun brought about a continual causal force on one half of the planet in the same direction and nearly the same point of its revolution. This is imagining if we were on a globe. Another problem with this has caused a reaction in the positively charged core that is sending out friction heat in the crust of the planet. Again, which density? This causes various lake levels, up ground water levels, weather conditions, ice caps to change, earthquakes, volcanoes, surface storms have increased continuously. Again, this is a gray agenda. Our ships have already taken some of their people aboard for test purposes. Those whom we have chosen for these occasions were of cooperative mind, and we recorded their willingness to assist us. Project Circle. As this is your first venture into this level of bond, you should make much use of the Synthescan to observe the ways of the Earth people. I'm going to leave it there. Next juicy chapter is Moses and the spacecraft. That ending part is what you would see on that Zeta talk on Telegram. Because pole shifting, the earth changes. Yes, there are going to be earth changes. We already see it, guys. The weather is bananas. No matter what part of the world you're in, the chats that I'm in on Rumble, people are from all over the place and they're talking about how horrible the weather is by them. And I could say for myself, you know, moving out to the Midwest, I knew I was getting into a little bit more of a stormy weather. But hey, if the hurricanes are going to hit, I'm out of hurricane proximity. So I have to take one bad thing over the other. I don't know which one I would rather take, but I'm off an island that would have probably been decimated by the next hurricane that hits, because Sandy was really bad. We could see a little bit of the alien gray agenda peeping its little face out at you. We're going to take some of you people on ships. Well, how many people keep screaming up, take me home? Who are you saying that to? Do you know your star family? And there's multiple star families you belong to. I'm sorry, it's not just one, you are all of them. Many of us have been, some of us have not. Who are you calling to take you home? And is that a wise idea? Just put those things in perspective. You do you, again, you do what your heart is resonating with. I'm not here to judge you, but if you're not sure, make sure you're specific in who you're calling. Make sure if you are a channel, if you're someone like me, make sure you go through a hell of a lot of tests before you know you're channeling. Know what's coming through you, in you, around you, in your area. You don't know. It could be Yeshua coming down and talking to you and showing himself to you. Do you really know it's him? Oh, because it looks like him and it feels like him, but that could be a deceptive thing. Because you are still here in a density that's a low vibration, and not to say that your mind isn't higher in thought, but you need your entire vehicle to make an assumption, to have a resonance, to know if something good or bad is coming into your paradigm, into your toroidal field, and your auric field. Just be careful. Shield yourselves, do what's innate within you to protect yourself. I think we're at a crux in this paradigm where, regardless of what's happening, you're going to do what you're going to do. If you're strong-willed and you're strong in your convictions, you're going to follow what your heart is telling you to do, and whatever that is, great. That's what you got to do. If you want to ascend, you want to know what's going on. If you're not ready to ascend yet, that's up to your soul. And most of you may or may not know what your soul contract is. Ground, meditate, look for the signs, and they come in all different types. It's not this whole awakening. So many people are basing their knowledge on one book. One book. One book. What I'm trying to do is show you different types of books and what they have to say and what other people are saying. these two little gray aliens might be from a really good density and they might be trying to even help us. Great. If that's the case, wonderful. If not, they won't pole shift. I don't know. But all I do know is when you're reading the Voyagers books, when you read the Keys of Enoch, when you're reading the Law of One, you're reading the Urantia book, you're reading the Awaspe book, start putting these things together. Start looking at the agenda, start looking and feeling out what is right and what feels wrong to you. It might not feel right for me, or it might feel right for you. Again, we're all trying to find the truth, and we are all one, but we're all individuated right now. So my truth might not be your truth because everybody's paradigm might be different, and that's okay. But understanding that Enoch might have, from Ashiana Dean's perspective, Enoch wasn't, he was originally a good guy. He was an Ascended Master. And then what happened? In her teachings, he went against the Emerald Covenant, not by, kind of by force. So his line wouldn't die. What happened? You have hybridized fucktards. You have Thoth fucktards weaving together and causing mayhem on this planet between the Anunnaki and the Draco. Please listen to her work. It'll start making sense. You might not agree with her, and that's okay. But the different delineations of each of those races and all the hybridizing of the races and what's here now on planet starts making sense. It's a lot to take in, but it makes this Keys of Enoch book make sense. It makes this book make sense. It makes those two books make sense. The Awaspe and Urantia book, it makes sense now. It's showing you, if you take what she's talking about and then apply it to the books, oh, you start seeing shit. It's crazy. You don't need to, again, resonate with everything she says. It's breaking down these group lines, and then when you're reading or you're seeing people talk, podcasters, you get to see what agenda they are stirring up. Who are they fighting for? Enki and Lo, Jovian Anunnaki. I mean, Enlil reptilian. So was he an Omnicron? Was he a Dragon Moth? Was he from the Odetacron and a Chromaton? Which system? Which matrix? Black hole. Phantom. Phantom is parallel to us. Closest one. The Weezadek. How many black hole stories are we talking about now? And that's, I'm still compiling all those articles because that's the next thing I'm going to be tackling is the black hole. Why is all of a sudden all the articles I'm reading black hole, black hole, black hole in the physics stuff? And then I listened to a tape that Ashiana did a while ago talking about we're going to black hole. Earth isn't ascending. 3D Earth, I don't think is ascending. Just like Dolores Cannon said. Black hole. Positive polarity, fourth dimension, fourth density. maybe, possibly. There's a lot of things to consider. And again, I'm still piecing all of this together for myself and where I belong in this paradigm. Shit ain't happening anytime soon, so we don't have to really worry. Things are playing out in our paradigm and things are getting to be a lot worse. Things are being exposed. Look at the astrological signs that are in conjunction and in retrograde of each other. These are the things that, oh my God, it's witchcraft. No, it's not. I can go on for hours and hours and hours, and I'm not going to do that. Get this book. Even though there's a lot of stuff that I don't resonate with, there is some truth in here, and I'm plucking it out for you guys. And again, my truth might not be your truth. So please, again, it's always good to read these books on your own if you have the time. The reason why I'm not reading this cover to cover, because I would have, and I started to, unbeknownst to me, I was ignorant in my understanding of copyright, because I would see other people doing these things and they're not getting permission. I don't want my channel taken down. And as I quote from a particular person, I almost had my channel knocked out because they wanted money motivated. I always suggest to buy the books. If you're interested in the Keys of Enoch, go to keysofenoch.org. It is $50 on the website. Do not get it anywhere else because you're going to spend over $100, $300, $500 on this book when you could get it for $50. And there's a plethora of other books on his site that are really good. I'm jealous of JQ, who has a shit ton of them. I think his whole collection. Please get this. It's still worth the read. It is not easy. It took me 5 months to mull through this book. And I would still have to go back and revisit a lot of the sections because it's dense. It's like the Voyager's book. It is dense. There's a lot to it. There is a lot of mechanisms that are hard to understand in these books. So it's talking about, here's a chapter. The keys to the sons of light are given in the transmissions of living energy codes within the people of God. They are sent from living universe to living universe to reveal the codes of light to the orders of evolving species within cellular time, so that the coded nuclei membranes may attach with the larger membrane of the universe. It has really neat artwork from the 70s. Perfect. I just opened to that. What is happening now? Look at the Schumann resonance. What is the ascension symptoms? Just said it. Ashiana says it in her work. Their work are very similar, just different agendas. Very similar in a lot of ways. Talking about DNA activation, the coding within us, the fire letters, both have those things in their work. So it's really interesting to see different perspectives. That's all I'm trying to bring all of you here. So with that, I'm getting excited. I'm passionate about this stuff. Sending each and every one of you light, protection, love, and shielding. Please be safe. Have a great week. Please try to meditate, ground your energy as best as possible. Sage, light some candles. Do you, boo. And I say that because we all really do need to do ourselves. Your paradigm might not be the same as mine, and we all have to respect that. At the same time, we all need to move humanity forward. So let's move together forward because we all are needed. at this time. Please be safe and be seen, everybody. Until the next time. Next one's going to be a doozy too. Bye, guys.